Welcome back to Literocity. I am Jennifer Duda. Here we are at district-wide training, and our keynote speaker is the educational thought leader, Miss Carol Jago. Carol Jago.
Thank you. Thanks, Jennifer, and thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here with all of you again.
Carol Jago is a distinguished English teacher, author, editor, speaker, and past president of the National Council of Teachers of English. As the author of 9 books on education, she continues to share her experiences in the classroom with teachers across the country. You're here to speak to our teachers today about culturally relevant instruction. And we all know that in the past you've been very passionate about rigorous curriculum for all students. So talk to us a little bit about how this message about culturally relevant instruction really does connect to your other message about rigorous instruction for all students.
In order for students to engage with rigorous curriculum, they need to feel that they're part of the classroom community. Without that, why should you do it? Just doing it for the teacher doesn't always work for every student. So I think one of the things that we can do is to make sure our curriculum itself helps to support that idea of not only are you part of this community, but this community needs you. We will be incomplete without you. And one way to reflect that is through the text that you choose. That said, I think we have to be very careful that the idea that simply including a couple more Langston Hughes poems or a novel by Zora Neale Hurston is going to be a magic bullet. But when students see their own lives, the issues that are important to them, reflected in the text the teachers are asking them to read and engage with, I think there's tremendously more potential for student achievement.
And you get a little bit of buy-in, but the kind of changes that we're really talking about involve helping students feel a part of your community. And texts are one way to help students feel a part, but in and of itself, it's not a magic bullet. So I want to set that out because actually, I don't think there are any magic bullets at all in education.
Her wide and varied experience in standards assessment and secondary education has made her a sought-after speaker, actively engaged in issues of critical importance.
Instead, teach them to yearn.
So where do you see Pinellas County as a district really fitting in with the rest of the nation and our place in doing this work?
I think Pinellas is uniquely positioned to make a difference in this national conversation. That we're at a point in our nation where there's so much polarization that it has never been more important for our classrooms to be truly democratic spaces where every voice is heard and every voice is needed to be heard. We can't afford to leave anyone out.
When we choose texts for students, not to mistake difficult and obscure for complex and valuable.
Carol Jago often works with school districts to craft professional development programs that meet both local needs and state expectations. She has been a critical person of influence in the standards-based instructional models for Pinellas County schools. And this really connects to the message that we've been discussing here about a student-centered environment and really releasing thinking to students, and we've been having lots of conversation about that recently, and we're going to have more conversation this afternoon. So based on your 32 years of teaching experience in the middle school and high school settings, what is your number one hint to teachers about really kind of allowing those opportunities for students to be a part of the conversation in the classroom?
You know, Jennifer, achievement is really driven by interest. By interest, I don't mean simply pandering to the things that students are interested in. We know what they're interested in: popular culture, music, I mean instead helping all students become interested in things they never before imagined they'd be interested in. Community issues, global issues. Teenagers are hungry for engagement, are hungry for solving the world's problems. They're keenly aware of when something's unfair. And when we make those issues central to community and to our curriculum, I think we have a good chance of engaging those students in high-level, rigorous work.
And after her presentation, I spoke to some of our teachers on how they plan to implement some of Carol's recommendations into their high school classrooms. The message that Carol was just sending out this morning about choosing texts that are more culturally relevant. Do you want to talk about the things that you were discussing here this morning?
Yeah, I believe that students would be more engaged if they could see themselves in text, and then it would generate more like a positive discussion amongst all students.
So were you getting some ideas about different visual texts and texts that you could use to really start those discussions in the classroom?
Yes, you mentioned one march on Washington. I think it's about the Selma March. I'm thinking about getting that one for my classroom.
I love this session. I think teaching relevant material that will engage the students is really important. And I got a lot of good ideas for texts that I can use with my students that would actually interest them. It's also the text you use, what's going on today with, we don't live in a post-racial society. And I think it's important to talk to the students about that and talk about racism and talk about what a lot of minorities are experiencing. I think that's an important dialogue to have, and she gave me some good texts so I can have that conversation with my students, which I think is really important.
When we come back, I take us to Dixie Hollins High School with our staff developer, Kristen Spang, to launch our new Teacher Expert series. Literocity returns in a moment.